like if you knew a close person that you knew's death was caused by somebody else, you know what I'm saying? Whether it was just spiritual powers that they used against them, or it was you don't have to even believe that, but you don't have to believe anything. You know what I'm saying? I say, but I'm just trying to believe what's good for you. But anyways, back to if you believe, that another person caused someone's death, whether even though they didn't, actually physically do something to the person, they would just, you know what I'm saying, I don't know, even if they harassed the person to death and made the person commit suicide or something like that. If you knew it was caused by another person, you would look at that person a whole lot differently than if you thought it was just natural circumstances why this person did whatever they did. You know what I'm saying? Or consequences from their own actions or something like that. Now, what possessed these people, or what's the reason why these people feel that it's on them to try to perpetuate what may be karma, or maybe they're just doing it for a lust of bloodthirst and lust for power, or whatever the reason why they're doing it. But let's say because the only noble reason would be like karma, um, and trying to teach someone a lesson, or people trying to play God or whatever. So if that was a noble reason for doing it, what would actually why would these people actually feel that they were the ones that were called to do this instead of just letting natural circumstances handle itself? You know what I'm saying? I can't answer that. I'm just saying that's a question for anybody that if you're thinking of joining this, or if you're thinking of joining this, just think about that. That's a question for y'all right there. And if it is a test or a rites to passage or something like that, it's the mother of all tests. I mean, you don't get more whatever than this. This is a psychological, freaking spiritual, fucking mental. They're getting physical and all that stuff. So just you got to cover all your bases and make sure you are building in all those areas. Make sure you're building your mental abilities, your emotional. Make sure you're having the right emotions going on. Make sure you're building up your social relationships. Make sure that you keep all that stuff intact. Your physical. Make sure you definitely keep your physical intact. And if you believe like spiritual is another part, then you should work on that too. Keep everything intact. Oh yeah, and keep your money up too, because that will help you out a lot of things, especially with the physical things. You need a lot of natural resources to build yourself up. So, well, maybe you don't need them, but you they help. So that's when it comes down to the point where what I'm saying, if it's a game or some kind of test or whatever, is the test too much or is it justified? Is it even justified in the first place or whatever? And also, what if it's not a test? What if it really is a war between two sides just battling it out? Like I said, this is all speculation. I'm just repeating myself, but so forget whatever they try to perpetuate. They try to say it's a war or something. It might not be. They might be all on the same side. The Hegelian dialectic. So you watch out for that too. It's called the Hegelian dialectic. Look that up. So when it's basically like I don't. It seems like they only want the test to be done when somebody gives it all up. Like everything that if you're willing to give it all up, or if you're willing to go all out for it, or give in to the ones who are testing you, or whatever the case may be, or trusting them, or whatever the case may be. Um, that's all putting yourself in a vulnerable position. But it seems like the people that do try to beat the test in other ways, like people who try to avoid all the garbage and still live a decent life and keep going, and people who try to beat the test like that, or people who try to completely tear down the whole system and tear down the whole test. It's like they don't want those people to win like that. It's like, okay, you can win, but if you win like this, then you're not really, it doesn't make any sense to me. You know what I'm saying? If you can find a way to win to where you're not vulnerable at all, and that's what we're gonna do, then their whole test is just got shitted on, and that's it, and that's just the way it's gonna have to be. Yeah, they lie, they manipulate, they cheat, steal, whatever, and they try to you know what I'm saying? And then on the other end, they'll help you out. They try to encourage you, at least in things that they want you to do. They'll try to show you the truth of some things, and you know what I'm saying? Maybe even help you out along the way. So then it's like, all right, so they give you both sides. So then it's like up to you to choose. You know what I'm saying? It's mainly it's just a trust issue. You know what I'm saying? Would you trust them or wouldn't you trust them, or how they give you every reason not to trust them, and then they give you some reasons to trust them. So it's like, what do you do? So when you're going through this, that's the main question you got to ask is, you know what I'm saying, are they doing right? I want you to know what they do before you get into it. So if there's something that you would be doing, and are they doing right? Why are they doing it? And should you even trust them? And most of my stuff is it's assumption, but it's not assumption, but it's based on some evidence. It's based on slight evidence. So take it how you may. You know, like when I said, take it how you may. You just take the truth. You take what I say, however you may. You know what I'm saying? If you want to believe it, I'm not gonna tell you if you should or not, man. It's up to you. But like I said, it's based on slight evidence. So you know, if they get some people down to the point where they feel like they have no choice, hopefully you would always avoid that and stay out of a vulnerable position and stay out of all corners. You know what I'm saying? Keep bobbing and weaving and keep your footwork going so that you stay out of all corners. And then you know what I'm saying? But some people they get them in the corner and they feel like they have no choice but to join or whatever. So it's up to you, man, to have this pre knowledge before you go through this to know what's going on. You know, some people get put in corners, some people get put in jails, and if they see that their loyalty isn't really with them, then they might try to put them in some unlucky position, like okay, you know what I'm saying, whatever. But then the whole jails are set up as places to run their tests too. They already have their tests set up. A lot of the inmates are in on it, and a lot of the guards are in on it, and I would probably say most, you know what I'm saying, mostly everywhere. So you just gotta, you know what I'm saying, know what you in for, and hopefully you can avoid the fuckery. Now, some people might make it out of these situations because they have the other side of the Illuminati or whatever you want to call them, go in helping them out. You know, try to help them out. You know, say maybe there's a good side and a bad side or something, whatever. Um, um, Maybe some people just have the knowledge to overstand them. That's what I'm trying to give you. I'm trying to give everybody the knowledge of self so they could overstand and they could dream up the good things. It's basically, you know what I'm saying, just don't believe everything you hear. And basically, it's really about believing what you what you really want for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Some things are true, some things aren't. Um, just believe what you really So this way you could dream your way out of any situation, dream your way into your own. It's about the dreams, you know what I'm saying? When you go to sleep at night and you dream up what you really truly want, what you want to go through. And I think that, like I said, it has a link with deja vu and everything. So just think about that. Yeah, but like I said, the jail systems they're already there to recruit certain type of people, certain type of them. Also, the fraternity when you go into college, fraternities and sororities, that's more of an upfront type of thing. But it's like you know what I'm saying. It's sort of like gang stalking where they do the hazing of a person. If you look at it, if you look at gang stalking that way, gang stalking is not always hazing. It's really trying to target you and trying to really get rid of you. Sometimes, yeah, I don't know, but you know, fraternity and sorority when you join that and you go through the hazing processes, it's kind of consensual to that you're going through this process so you could join the group. You know what I'm saying? At least that way you know what you're getting into, and they're the same thing, I believe. You know, but gang stalking, they don't actually, you know, go as far as how they do in hazing. They don't actually touch the person or stuff like that. They just probably, you know, just try to annoy you from the outside with signs and da 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 and get you to act up. They try to get you, to be the aggressor. But it's not just those. It's all life, all over, all grounds, all over the world. The whole world is a testing ground for these people. They use it as a testing ground for those people and everybody. So, and they have coded languages too. Coded languages, coded. They have codes and signs and stuff. Numbers and different words and stuff that they may use, and different way they position their bodies. If you could study the Masons, you'll know that if they sit a certain way, they're trying to say something and da 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 da. And this could be going on through you too, through a ghost that's trying to channel through you. Maybe they got you sitting a certain way, and your ghost is saying something to them. So it's a lot of crazy things. That I'm not really gonna get into that. It's really not that relevant, and that's their own little things. I probably picked up on a few of their things, and you can see some of it in movies. I caught some of the stuff in movies, and I seen it out in the real world, and then I'm like, okay, oh, that's what they did in the movie, and some of that stuff you got to pick up on yourself. It's not really. I mean, any knowledge could help you, but as long as you got the main point is that they're trying to use your power against you. That's all you really need to know. So it's just about your stage of where you are. You know what I'm saying? If your third eye's open and you're receiving clairvoyant messages, then you'll just pick up on it automatically. And that's it. And I mean, easy way to like a template for picking up on the hidden signals or the hidden signs that they have, hidden codes they have is it usually takes place after some kind of message. So if you see a picture of something of an act of something happening, and then you see a message, it goes back to Pavlov. You know what I'm saying? So this code would relate to that message. So anytime you see this number, it will relate to that scenario that you've seen. Or anytime you hear this, it will relate to this picture that you've seen, or something like that. So they try to use like how Jesus used parables, like this means this and that means that. So anytime you see somebody balling up their fists, and let's say they had an act to go along with that. So anytime you see someone do this, so Pavlov is something that you would need to study if you really want to get into something like that. Last, definitely not least, hold on.